Hi, fellow traders. I hope everybody had a great week this past week. I'm going to kind of recap the last 2 weeks, quickly recap the last 2 weeks of me trading my small account and some of the issues I've had and things that I'm going to be working through going forward. But the best trade that I had for the last 2 weeks, I thought I had got on tape. I kind of outsmarted myself. Excuse me. I said, whenever you're trying to, or you change something in the process that you have when you trade, before I start looking at something, I got to remember to click record and all of that. So I said, well, why don't I just record the whole screen, take advantage of the router that I have, and store the video all day on the router because I put a jump drive in it and I can just store the videos there until the end of the day. I can pull them off and just show the trades. But for some reason I can't find the video from that I took Friday. I recorded the whole day and I cannot find the video anywhere. But if I find it, I will post it and go through it. But it was real good setup because this was the best reversal setup that we've seen. Now we've traded several, but they weren't really clean. And this was the cleanest by far, the one on CC on Friday. And this is exactly what we look for. We got a whole bunch of volume came in, drove this up. Now I like to see ascending volume, but the way this thing worked is the first candle pretty much took out a lot of the buyers. And what we usually see happen when this thing comes in, people that are watching momentum stocks, they pile in once they catch a breakout. And what that usually does is it makes the volume increase as it goes up. But I think because we got this huge first candle, we had a lot of people jump in on it. Maybe they were waiting for it to push this level before, push 7. A lot of them may have been watching it over 7 once it, got up here. And whatever the case is, volume kind of died off of it. But I was still interested because it was slamming into these levels of resistance. Now, when you get momentum and you don't see a stock slow down when it hits these levels, it's going to continue to go. But once you get to this level and you can see this wick here, it ran up close to it, then it pulled back in. This one opened, started to sell off a little bit, and then pushed back up. And once I saw this, this gave me an indication as to whether either it's going to fail here at 750 or it's going to fail to push here at 784. When it first opened and it started to pull back, I was thinking 750. But then it got bought right back up and it slammed in and tested this 784. So I posted in chat, I was watching this off of 784. And this candle opened here and it's failed to push the level. It opened here below this level, but then we ran up to like 80, what was this, 808 or something like that. But then it pulled right back in. And so when I saw it do that, in my mind, this thing was, giving me, it was at the beginning of forming this reversal hammer. Now, obviously, I couldn't see this when it was forming. And that's the whole reason behind me wanting to record these live, because you can't, seeing this after the fact is easy. it's easy to identify. But when it's excuse me, when it's happening and you're watching the price action, there are things that I like to point out that that's going to help you see how to determine this is where you need to go in. These are the things you want to look for that's going to give you a safe entry. And that's exactly what I saw here. So I got in here at 775, risking off of 784, meaning, I was going to, if it came back and kind of took over this, I would have been out. So I was in 1,000 shares, which that was kind of a mistake because I wanted to kind of keep it around 500 for now while I'm doing these videos. But I forgot to change the amount back to 500, and I actually got in 1,000 shares here. But still, 10 cents from my entry up to the level that my stop, that's $100 risk for a potential $300 profit. So that wasn't bad. And then right here, this was 2-to-1 from 75. This was $250 pretty much from my entering at 75 down to 50. So I felt pretty good about my risk reward, and I got in, and this was pretty much a stress-free trade because once I got in, there was really no turning back because this candle opened and it sold off pretty good right down to 50, right down to the 50s, but then it kind of got back up, and I didn't get the cover on this candle. This is actually where I covered here at 752. And I covered on this third candle here because this candle opened. It tried to push up a little bit, but I wasn't going to jump out because the whole purpose of getting in this trade is to get this cover. Now, this was the only really emotional time that I had was when this opened and started to push a little bit, up to 770. No, I wasn't going to click it at 775. I was going to give it an opportunity to test this again, before I got out. But because it did work, I just didn't catch the profit. Now, had I got profit here, then yeah, my stop would have been at break even. But I didn't catch anything, so I had to leave it on and let it work. It doesn't make sense to just click a trade when it scares you or you might think it's going back the other way. And this is why you don't watch a P&L, because here I was up 200 and some dollars, and then all of a sudden, right here, I'm back up only $50. So it can make you just want to click it and take that 50, but you have to be willing to let it work. And it's hard, it's difficult. That's the hard thing about trading a small account, because if you can add $50 to it, hell yeah, take that $50. But you have to, if you're in a trade and it's working and it shows you that it's got the potential to work, you have to stick with it. You have to give it a chance to work. So, and that's exactly what I did here. And, I got out here, and then on this candle, it came down and it tried to test the 9 moving average. But whenever you have the 9 moving up, it's trending up, the 20's trending up, you got to click it. It may not make it all the way to the 9 moving average. Remember, I said these moving averages and these levels, they're not exact. They're just levels where you're going to run into sellers and buyers. And you have algos and you have private traders like us who trade off of moving averages. And a lot of people discount the 9 moving average But there are a lot of algos that were written on it to take advantage of the fact that we discount it. And the same way with the 20, there are algos that work on the 20. There are ones that work on the VWAP. And there are private traders all over the world that have found their niche working off of these different moving averages. Some of us discount them, say it's not important. I don't trade off of that. Yeah, that's their personal strategy. But for me, in the way I trade, these moving averages make a lot of difference. And I use them to, I don't use them to enter, but I use them, to manage my trade. And because this came down and it popped up a little bit like this, it it just had the feel that this thing was getting ready to turn. And that's when I clicked it right here at 740. That's when I got out completely. And sure enough, this thing kept going. You have to look at the trend. And I look at these moving averages as a trend that's following. And until it breaks that trend, I'm going to stick with it. And you can see here, it broke the trend, but then it turned around. It never confirmed the break. So anytime it breaks a trend, I look for a confirm in order for me to get out. And this is just what a fake out looks like. You got the close below the 9, and then this candle opens and opens strong and pushes right back up above it. This candle opens above it over this 752 level and tries to push up. Here we go. We got this candle here that closed below it, but then you got this level here, 752, that proved to be significant here. So why not hold and see if this is going to hold as support? And sure enough, it did, and then it pushed right back up. So this is why I wait and why I say I need to see confirmation. Before I enter, or a lot of times before I exit, I really want to see this confirmation that's going to tell me, and it's like training wheels. I just need something to confirm with me, something to make me safe in my decisions. Because if you go in reckless and just throwing money around, it's like, I don't care. I know I'm going to lose some, but I'm going to win some. And you don't have a set strategy. All you're doing is gambling. And most of the time when you gamble, you lose. You may get lucky and win once or twice, but for the most part, you're going to lose. So that was my trade on CC. It pretty much made my week. But I've documented all of the struggles I've had, and you're going to have those. You're going to have these smaller trades where things may not follow through the way you want them to, or you get stopped out and then it makes the move, but you got to stick to your rules. You got to stick to your plan. You got to believe in the system that you're trading. And before you trade it, you should have tested it in the simulator to prove to yourself that it is a viable strategy in the market. And I know reversals are a viable strategy. I know my opening range breakout and breakdowns are a viable strategy. I know 3 out of 10 times it's probably going to not work out because of that's just the way the market is. Things can be manipulated. You can't see everything that's behind all of the moves. All you can do is use these technicals and use the chart to be able to let you know that your plan and your trade plan is not going to work. And, that's all I do. So quickly, kind of to recap what's happened. I did open the account a little early because I wanted to make sure that it was set by July 1st. But immediately after I opened this account and funded it, I had about $500 disappear overnight. I don't know where it went. It wasn't 500 even, but it was right at $500. So all day I tried to get SureTrader on live chat. No luck. I would put in, I'd leave a message for somebody to message me back. I never got anything. Sent emails, and it wasn't until 3:55 or so that I actually got this email. So saying that it was fixed, but it wasn't. And I emailed them again. Next thing you know, it was 5 o'clock and the email stopped. So the next morning when I logged in, it was fixed. I did have the money back, and everything was fine then. But I did get the account up before July 1st. I did get the account up. I had 2076 in, and then the monthly fees hit. And yeah, they did tell me that even though I was getting the SureTrader Pro later in the month, that I would still have to pay the whole month. I thought it was crap, but that's just the way they work. So I had to pay the full platform fee for June, even though I used it for about a week. And then they stuck me with this inactivity fee from February to June. Now, I didn't open the account until June. And I only had a week to make however many trades they tell you. I don't even know how many trades you have to make in order to not get hit with an inactivity fee. But for an account that was only open a week, and them to charge me an inactivity fee seemed pretty stupid. And I'm still arguing with them about that. An extra $50 is an extra $50. And so I got hit with $174 in fees, which took me back down. Plus, I don't have the other fees on here, but it just seems like there were fees for pretty much everything. So I was down after all these fees hit, and that's just the way SureTrader is. And this is why trading with a small account and trading with SureTrader, a lot of times these things, really crush people. And you have to be aware of this. And a lot of times people get crushed because they don't understand, they don't know about the fees that SureTrader charges, and they're not expecting it. So what if I had a $500 account? I would be below 500 now, and I wouldn't be able to use margin, which would, in essence, shut me down, because without margin, I can't trade the stocks that I trade, without it. I just can't. So that's why we don't recommend you start with $500. That you start with at least 1,000. I recommend 1,500 at a bare minimum. But that's one of the things that we have to deal with SureTrader. It's not that they're bad or they're crooked. Those are the fees they have, and it's up to us to take it or leave it. So with an account this size and wanting to day trade, they're pretty much your best option. All right. So as of Friday, thanks to the CC trade, I do have a balance now of 2287. My goal was to be halfway to 5,000 by now, but that didn't work out. We did cover a couple of losing trades in there that kind of pulled back from some of the money that we made. Some of the trades, the follow through wasn't great, but we did grow it a little bit. And since I opened this, I've made about $787 clear. This is minus commissions and fees and all of that stuff. which is 52.46%. And that's not bad. You know, considering all of the fees that we had and everything, that's not bad. 52% is not bad. So, you know, I'm good with that. And we'll see, you know, maybe by the end of the month, you know, the more money you get in the account, the better share size you can take, the more money you bank. And that's just the way it goes. But too many people come into this and they try it and they lose, and then they don't think anybody else can do it. All right, here's my contact information. If you want to send me an email or contact me or anything, um, you know, and it's a lot. Everything that I'm using, all the strategies, everything that I'm using in trading, I got from, you know, learning from Mike, Ross, Jeff at Warrior Trading. You know, everything I use is taught in that class. Now, yeah, I've adapted some things because that's what you have to do as a trader. When you get out there on your own, you're going to have to adapt a couple things to fit your eye, your personality. In some strategies you can trade, some you can't. You know, obviously I can't trade the gap and go because it's faster than my brain functions, and I can't trade that. So I don't pretend to like to trade it. I can use those same stocks and wait for them to slow down and pick a trend and trade that trend, and that's all I do. You know, I trade reversals until that trend breaks. I'll trade you know, off the VWAP, and I'll trade that trend until it breaks. And it just makes it so much simpler. And I don't have to have all of this market knowledge. I can have basic market knowledge and, you know, make money. So the purpose of this is to really prove that you can start with $1,500 and with some patience, determination, and perseverance, you can grow your account. And then the goal is to grow your account to like $5,000. And then I want to show you how you can make a living trading off of just $5,000. And then saving some and saving some and saving some so that eventually you can move from SureTrader to a broker like Speed Trader or Lightspeed or wherever, where you can trade freely without worrying about all of these crazy fees and all of that stuff. This is just a growing process. And if you're an average Joe like me, and that's all I am, just an average everyday person who started doing this, who had some money that wanted to do it and wanted to learn how to trade, and, you know, like everybody else, I was blinded by all of the glitz and glamour that it was portrayed to be. But thankfully, I learned very quickly that this is not something that can happen overnight. I had to grind. I had to spend hours and hours and hours at night on the simulator getting some screen time. And screen time is what makes the difference. Because the more you see, the more you experience, the more comfortable you're going to be taking these trades. So hopefully next week I went out and bought another monitor. I'm adding it to my main platform so I can keep everything in front of me. I don't have to turn to do this and that. And that should help me. But like I said, trying to record and trade is a nightmare. And my number one priority has to be making money. So I try to do things to make these videos come off a lot easier and less destructive, not destructive, but less causing me less interference to my trade plan and how I like to trade and all of that stuff. But just bear with me. By the end of this month, I should have it down, and I should be pretty smooth in doing the videos and all of that. So I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I hope to see everybody in chat on Monday.